Hello again. Sorry, I got interrupted here by phone calls. I'm splitting this to two parts, basically. So I was talking about that here. It was interesting for me to take with the bishop instead. He took with the knight, but for me it seems more logical to take with the bishop. You want to prepare this f5. And then something I've seen like Kramnik's and not Kramnik's, I mean Fabiano's analysis of this game on his C-squared podcast, and he was talking about this move h5. Computer likes it, but for some reason, like, he was only talking about this move closing down the king side, something like this, and it's quite a closed position here. But I didn't understand why, and the computer doesn't want it either, like this h3 move here. For some reason, black doesn't like, or white, the computer doesn't like h3. For some reason, they think it's very good to have like this, and I don't really get it. Why is this so? Like, why is this so good for black? I don't really get it here. Again, the computer wants to close here with g5, but I don't know. I think this looks quite dangerous. Also, for example, something like this. I guess, yeah. Maybe there are some. Of course, this bishop here is always some kind of tactical problems here. And here is also a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe here. Okay, so they want to break here. That's interesting. They want to. Computer wants to create play like this. Yeah, maybe it's too dangerous for white to play this h3. Like, I was surprised when I watched Caruana's analysis here, and he just like makes sense for me that in response of this. In response to h5 that you play h3, but I guess it's because this one castle and the next move maybe g5, maybe rook here. So white they actually want to prevent that. Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting actually. Maybe bishop here, maybe here. Sometimes you could, yeah. Interesting. So he was only analyzing here either something with the knight here, or take, or g5 at once. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, because it makes a lot of sense for me to take here with the bishop, because you want to overprotect this pawn, so you can play h5. You really want to overprotect this pawn, I think. So the problem, what happened in the game when I took here, is that this one is still undefended, and here black played quite a strong move in my opinion here. He played the computer top move, he played here, and the plan is of course that he wants to go here and trade queens. And when that happens, either queens will be traded, and of course then white has some kind of a potential attack here with f5. But if the queens are traded, it's not so dangerous. It might still be so that white could get some kind of play here with f5, but the worst is probably over for black then. And here white did something that I thought was quite normal, but Caruana, he criticized that a lot, because to me most normal move here would be to play like this for white. But of course he could take this pawn, and then it's again this queen trade here. So yeah, it's too easy for black to trade queens, so white cannot sack a pawn. So he plays like this, and black plays like this. And here was a move that the computer doesn't criticize. It criticizes a little bit, but Caruana and Hikaru, when I watched them, they criticized it a lot. And it was that he played here, and this looks logical to me. But the problem is that black can go here and like queen this pawn and go back and get a passed pawn here. So what they said, and also computer thinks is quite okay. Actually, computer prefers to go here with the bishop to defend like that. That probably looks even better in my opinion. You want to keep this rook here, still wanting to play the f5. So this looks correct. Defend here. This definitely looks correct. So it plays like here, here, and there is still potential for this one, even if e5 is unprotected now. So it's not so easy for white to do it anyway. So, but yeah, black doesn't have any play, because what black wants to do, he kind of wants to do this one and then go here to trade queens. But the nice thing with bishop e1 is that he can play rook f3 and prevent that queen trade. So that's why bishop e1 was the best. But Caruana and Hikaru, they talked that instead of taking this rook here, they thought white should play like this. But it would have been even better to play the bishop here, of course, as the computer says. But the reason why they want to go with this rook is because they want this one to be protected. For example, now black wants to trade queens, but he can just play this one and black has to go back. And here already, of course black will not play queen c4, but here already white is winning the a3 pawn, and it's just good for white, because yeah, this bishop is quite strong now, basically. Maybe next move f5 is coming here. So rook fc1 would prevent black's counterplay with queen c4, and again here he wants to play this move, and again this h3, which I think is so logical, is not among the top moves. So the computer wants to close the position like that, close the king side. Let's just see why h3 is not so good. Okay, so again it's this one attacking at the base here that the computer likes. So, and again, like f5 is not ready because e5 is getting lost here. So it's interesting that black wants to play h5 before this one. What's the problem with this then? Let's look at that. Okay, so one thing is that he can put his queen here, which he cannot do if the line is opened. So let's say if he goes like here, or maybe like here. Yeah, something like this. Again, it would have been better for black to have it open. Okay, so that's why black wants to play h5 first, and only after this is included, yeah, then he can't go here obviously because of the rook. So that's why, that explains this h3, why Caruana didn't consider that in his video. So, but Gukesh played a worse move, but I think it's understandable. It's also in Gukesh uncompromising style. Like, who cares about such a pawn here, even if black gets a pass pawn? Like if you could mate him here on the king side instead. So obviously it's going here, and problem of course is that when white starts the attack with f5, then of course it's way too dangerous to take here. For example, just something like this. For something like this is computer already thinks white is winning here. Something like this, but Ding would have of course seen that, so he would have tried to trade queens here already. So now here it would have been a bit of a dilemma for white. If he allows the queen trade, most of his attack is gone. But if he moves the queen something like this, then there is a very strong move here for black. it's g5, and if he takes, black gets his queen to a defensive position, defending this pawn and maybe preparing bishop here. So that's g5 here is very strong. Maybe, I don't know if probably the players didn't see that, but maybe they did. And if he would go something like here, it's a little bit like the game, then black is already active, winning at least an exchange, and the c3 is falling, like it's just falling apart here for white. White could still play something like this, but now the position will get traded, and yeah, there is a risk that white's pawns just will get weak, basically. But he did this, and then he decided to go back, which you can see the computer hates. The computer hates these two moves. Black is already winning now because of this strong move. He threatens to take and then win c2, so he has to go like here. And here also it would have been safer for black and better for black to play castle here, because as we will see, there will be but this is also fine, but there will be an inaccuracy here in move 27 for black, so white could have gotten an equal game, and the reason is that black, like we will see here, black couldn't castle if white played correctly, so it would have been correct for black to castle first, and just after that he would continue his attack here on against c3. But he played like this, h5, h4, logical move, try to get rid of this strong bishop on g5, and then queen b1. That's the recommended move. And here, of course, if he would castle, then there is this tactical shot here. Take and take, and white is winning a piece. So here black has to take. He has to do something, because this rook c2 is a threat, and the most logical is of course to take here. So he wins a pawn instead, and now of course this is defended, so he can just take back like that. So white takes here instead. Black has to take, and here black makes a big blunder here. So the correct here would have been to take with the bishop. It looks a bit dangerous for black, because it allows this move here and maybe get a check, but it's no problem because black can just take here and it's just no check. For example, rook e1 here, then maybe this is what Ding didn't see here, that there is this check in between, something like this. Black keeps everything under control. This is threatened. So this is under control. For example, if he didn't see this bishop h2 check, then yeah, it could maybe look a little bit dangerous, but still this could also have been fine, because yeah, basically who cares if he wins? White can win some kind of a pawn here, but it's still, you see, still winning for black, of course, with these active pieces here. But he shouldn't go back here, because again white can prevent the castling, and this was what could have happened in the game also, where white could have equalized. But instead he took with the pawn, which was a big mistake here, and it's a big mistake because of this knight e2, and this is almost forced. He trades the bishop, and here white makes his losing move here. Correct, of course, is to go here, and the key is to cover this, because you cannot castle you cannot castle short if f8 is covered, basically. Then game could have proceeded like this. So black is 3 pawns up, but because his king is weak, he cannot castle and it's pretty hard for black to use his material advantage. The computer still thinks like this is it's a relatively even game here. White has compensation for his pawns here because yeah, strong bishop here basically, and black has to play quite precisely because, yeah, for example, queen here threatening queen here with mate, something like this doesn't work. It first looks like this must be winning for white because like this is checkmate of course, but there is one very nice move here for black, queen d4, and when it takes, so black is better. So it looked like, first when I looked here I thought white is winning with queen here, but it doesn't really work. So it was even stranger that Gukesh didn't see that. Maybe he saw that this queen here tactic didn't work, but still it was like such a nice bishop here and so many tactical chances. Okay, but let's see what happened instead. He played here, and he played here. And this is a mistake, and it's of course the mistake is because it will allow black to castle. So he plays here, correct move, threatening queen trade. White has to move, and then he castles. And now black is just 2 pawns up for nothing basically, and also this pawn is also weak. This pawn is weak, so it's just not. It's two pawns, and there is also like potential for an attack for black here with the bishop knight in here. Black's king is safer than white suddenly. So he plays the correct things here, but as you can see, black has to be precise. Only move here is knight d3 to keep the advantage, but it's a relatively easy move to see. For example, this looks really bad, allowing mating attack here. So it's normal to play like this. Now also this one is threatened, so he can't do the attack here, so he has to defend the bishop. And this still looks kind of dangerous with this pin, but there is one move, only one move that works for black, and it's this e5 here. It's yeah, it's not so hard for black to see because it's the only move that doesn't lose at once. And the point of course is that when white takes that, black takes here with check and gets out of the pin. So maybe bishop g3 here was better, but it was still a losing position here after something like this. And it's 2 pawns up, but yeah, it's basically about the safer black king that will decide the outcome. Now next, he had to get Luft here because he can hide his king, but next move he can maybe take here because this one is threatened. This one is undefended, I mean. But he did like this. And now black has a strong maneuver here, putting his French bishop here. There is like this saying here that this French bishop is like bad, but once it gets active, it's often very, very strong, because white often put all his pawns on the dark squares, so there is no white pawns to fight against this bishop. So when it comes to e4, it's kind of a monster here, and it will be a bit like that in the game also. So now you can see that the game is basically over here. Now it's threatening queen h1 mate, of course, has to move something. And he checks here, and he wins that pawn. And you can see it's forced mate, but it's not so easy. It's not about that, it's about the a pawn. It's easy for that one to queen. It's just maybe move the queen here and just queen. White has no attack. His queen is passive. So that was a very nice game, and it was extremely impressive because Liren looked very unpractical here. Here he fought for more than half an hour because he said that he had 2 plans prepared here and choose one with this one. But once he played here in the center here, when here, for example, here it was a little bit of a key move that Gukesh should have played like this instead. cover like that, and it would have been an equal game. But what he played here was too it was basically too risky for white, because it was quite easy for black to trade queens. So white should already start thinking about equalizing the game and not go for an attack here like he did. But it was a very nice game by Ding, but unfortunately two games later here we will see when Gukesh is, because game 2 is a quick draw, but game 3, which we'll look at in next video, again Ding Liren fought like for 1 hour in the opening, and then he didn't have time for the middle game, so he lost on time. So when he was actually he was actually much better, as we will see, but he just didn't have enough time to convert in his advantage. But here Gukesh made him quite easy for Liren, because like everyone can see that if white starts an attack here on the king side, it's gonna get dangerous. So it's correct for black to just trade queens here, and you have a nice endgame to look forward to. So that's why some people like Hikaru said that he played quite bad, because he made it easy for Ding Liren. Here is already winning here, as you can see. Okay, see you next video.